Welcome to JayTalk Raw.
What's up, Eric? Second episode in a row, man. Congratulations. I think you're the only one besides like Raul, who's the usual host, that gets a second episode consecutively, but you're becoming the regular, man.
Yeah, well, I'm thankful for it. Had really good conversations last time. Everybody kind of loved it, so did I.
Yeah, we got really good feedback, dude, on that one.
Yeah,
but
we did.
Let's get right into it. You know, let's continue the conversation we were just having right now off of the air. So like we were just talking about gun laws and the shit that's going on in like California, New Mexico. New Mexico just had that the governor changed the law because she said that the number one cause for children dying in her state was guns.
Mm-hmm.
But we were just talking about like concealed carry and what would happen if, you know, the laws on concealed carry changed and a lot of shit that's going on here. I'm of the opinion, man, that like I don't, you know, I'm not gonna tell you like, oh, I'm a Second Amendment diehard. I think that guns, you should have guns. Like, you think you should have the right to protect yourself and defend yourself and protect your family. Like, forget the danger of, not forget, but like I'm less afraid of the danger of tyranny. I think that is a possibility because right now I'm reading Chaos. I don't know if you know this, but Spotify Premium now does audiobooks.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm reading Chaos. And Chaos is about MK Ultra and like the CIA and the FBI and how they knew, like they were watching Charles Manson and the Manson family, and they knew that these guys, they could have stopped the murders and just so much shit, like the parole, the government, and they had experimented on Charles Manson and other people, and how like every time he'd get locked up, the CIA would get him released, and just crazy shit that you would never fucking imagine. And it's not like conspiracy theory. Like, this author was a reporter and he has documents that he got through the Freedom Act, all these things, that like interviews that he did with the sheriff's department, and some of the fucking craziest thing, because this is LA, like this happened in LA. So he's interviewing people from LA, LAPD, sheriff's department, and the old sheriffs are telling him like people from the SIS, which is like special investigations, they're telling him like, yeah, fuck, yeah, of course we knew. Like, and he'll say like, what do you mean? How are you guys not report this? And he was like, that's why my name aren't on the fucking reports. He's like, because it was people doing this and doing that. And
it's because they were testing, you know, I think they said that they were putting them like on acid trips and seeing what effects it does.
So like Susan Atkins, like the one who actually killed Sharon, like a pregnant Sharon Tate, she had been locked up, and then she would call Charles Manson's parole officer, who only had one parolee on his case, which was Charles Manson, which is weird, you know, and he would get them out of jail. But my point of that is like, it's, I don't say like, oh, I'm not afraid of tyranny, because I also accept that like the government does wild fucking shit, you know, and I think that there is a possibility that one day they can do some, you know, crazy wild shit to its own citizens if they're not doing it already. But as far as like a full blown out war between like a revolution, like people fighting back, I think that's not plausible, because I think that
it's kind of too late now. There's too many people that have too many guns. But if there wasn't, they would do something in a form of a lockdown, right? Like, let's just say like COVID happened, but if nobody had weapons, they would keep COVID on for longer and be like, you got to stay home. Like, and you actually can't leave. They would do it, because then all you really need is just a couple of people from the army, put them, station them somewhere and just have them, give them like guns.
You know what scared me, why I became a little more pro-gun during COVID was not so much the government, but the panic that it caused in people. Like I remember the Ralphs and Downey, like right when it was happening, and I didn't think it was a big deal. I was like, man, people are overreacting like they always do, you know? And then I saw people freaking out for toilet paper. Like I saw Ralph's employees standing at the end cap, like counting, like, no, you can only take one bag, one roll, you know? And I was like, what the fuck is going over toilet paper? Like, this isn't even like essential, like really. Like, imagine when it got to if it gets to water or food, like people are gonna fucking kill each other, you know?
How did that even start? I always wonder, how did it start with the toilet paper? Like, why was it not water or some of the canned foods? Like, why
protein? Right?
What? Yeah, protein. It might expire, but still, just like, how did it just jump from just toilet paper?
But you would think the reason I even bring up protein, because I imagine that like in cases like that, things become delicacies. Like, okay, like like if you have this, then you have a hookup or something. So because it became that at one point, it was like who has the most. Like my family, I have family members who hoarded. Like I went to their house and they had like stacks like taller than me of water and toilet paper, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, you know. And but again, and honestly too, like let's say, I don't know, toilet paper, that shit was ridiculous to me, because if water stops running, that shit becomes irrelevant. You have a stack of toilet paper in your fucking toilet.
Yeah.
But anyways, that shit panicked me, because I was like, not panicked me, scared me, because I thought people panic, man. And
they panic pretty bad, right? Like when you were walking in, when there where people actually were trying to buy food and stuff like that, like everybody's like anxiety ridden, running around like it's gonna be the end of the world, and you know that so many people just cannot survive if they just don't have their basic. Well, everybody needs, right, their basic necessities to survive, but some of the people that are not, that live a even better life, right, with Starbucks every day and stuff like that, like those type of people, like they freak out when they can't get, you know, their high end type of food,
which is crazy, because you do that shit to yourself, right? Like people who like now you can do experiments. Like there are people out there who legit, bro, do not know life without iPhone. Like you know, we're 2023, and kids that were born in 2000, like by the time they were 5, they had a phone attached to their hand. So those people are freaking out even more. I mean, me and you, I don't know how to make a fire out of rocks. I'm sure I could try to figure that shit out, but I think I'm a little better off than like a 20-year-old, you know, who's gonna freak out because they can't Uber Eats, you know?
Yeah.
But my point of that is like, I legit thought like, okay, how long is it before people start knocking their neighbors' doors down? And it's like, give me your fucking toilet paper, you know? So that's what I told my wife. I was like, look, like we have daughters, and it's just, and it's me and my son. My son's fucking 6. You know, what is he gonna do? He's not gonna help me protect anything. So I told my wife, like, look, she doesn't like guns, but I told her, I would rather you be upset now than upset, you know, after like something happens and we couldn't do anything. Like somebody broke into the house. I'd rather have somebody laid out dead in the living room than, you know, some fucking horrible experience of like, you know, something happening. So that's where I stand on guns. But I think that a lot of what we were talking about before we came on was a lot of the shit that's going on right now, especially like in LA. I think it's gonna stop when something dramatic happens related with a gun, because like right now you have people running into Nike stores, Louis Vuittons, Gucci's, and they're robbing, like, but not just regular robbing. Like these are fucking flash. Mass
It's big
looting.
it's big mobs, you know. 10 now, you see it started with like 3 or 4. Now you're starting to see like groups of 10, 12, and they're like walking in, taking it, and like barely running on the way out.
The Nike store, the one I saw recently was the Nike store, and that shit was wild, because you're right. It started with like Louis Vuitton, Apple, you know, in Beverly Hills, where I think that it's not, they don't expect it to happen, and they fucking like come in and they smash and grab. But the Nike store was like, these fools took their time, bro. Like they walked around, they're carrying boxes. It's like 10 people. They grabbed a whole rack of clothes and like taking enough time to like release the hangers. And I was like, what the fuck? And the employees are just standing there like, hey, like what the fuck? And there's people recording, talking shit. I honestly thought like, man, bro, I would be so not upset, but like disappointed, and like I guess upset is the word, where I was like, man, I think maybe I'd fucking like punch somebody in the fucking, like as they're running out, like boom, like fuck you, you know.
But if you're not an employee, right, like you're just
if I'm just a regular person, I'll fucking sock somebody with his hands full.
I'd probably just trip them, throw a little box in front of them,
if I'm having a bad day, bro, I'm definitely fucking socking somebody in the side of the back of their head, just bah. It's like,
what are you gonna do, come back?
What are you gonna fucking do? I hope you do stop. And then I think like one time I was at it was early in the morning, and I stopped at a 7-Eleven for like a Red Bull or something, and I noticed there was a line. You know, when you go to the back and you're coming up the aisle, and I noticed there was a line like leading into the aisle, and I'm like, why the fuck is there a line at 7-Eleven at 8 in the morning? And I look up to the front of the register, and they're robbing the place. Like this dude has like a little gun, like maybe like a 22, and he's fucking robbing the place. And the lady at the 7-Eleven, I know her, like I frequent the place, and I don't know her like her name, but you know, like, hey, how you doing? And she looks at me, bro, and she gives me this look of like, help, you know, and there's like 6 other people there. and there's another dude next to me who has like a coffee, and he's like in a suit, and then like two other ladies, and like maybe
It's
another.
like it looks like everybody's just waiting. Like, hey, can you hurry up? So
Yeah, can you hurry up and fucking rob? And I'm thinking, bro, because I have a big Red Bull. I'm thinking, if I launch this at his fucking head, and I hit him, like there's a moment of stunning, and as he's stunned, I can reach him and like sock him, and like hopefully I drop him, and I'll take, maybe people would jump in and have me take the gun. But as I'm thinking this, I'm also thinking like, watch everybody not help me. Like, what?
You imagine everything. Yeah, who knows if anybody's even gonna do anything?
Yeah, and then I thought, like, I was like, they have insurance. Like, my family doesn't have, like, what's gonna happen if I get killed here? Like, this food does hit me with that, even though it's a little 22.
Yeah,
but like, I'm fat, my arteries are wider than normal, so I'll probably bleed out. Like, I was like, but I wanted to, man. Like, I don't know. That's my first instinct, is to try to help. Like, can I do something? But I think that that's what's going to happen in LA. I think that they're going to try to rob something, and somebody's going to get shot. And knowing LA, they're going to be like, oh my God, he was somebody's son, and rest in peace, fucking Jose. And it's going to be like, nah, bro, like, he was fucking robbing, and I can't be mad at that. Like,
and just. The tough thing is being in California, they can sue for anything. So
yes,
that makes it a lot tougher, right? There's something like that happens unless you're threatening for your life and they're actually really pointing a gun at you and you shoot them. Guess you got to shoot to kill.
Yeah,
but you got to make sure that it's a real gun or anything like that, because if anything, then the parents, everybody's just money hungry. They're like, "Oh, you killed my son. I know he had a gun to you, but
that's crazy, right?
Yeah, right.
That's fucking insane. That you can sue. Like, I think that's why like, I think it happened in Walmart, right, where somebody tackled a thief, and then they fucking sued.
That's why now for stores nobody does anything, because if something were to happen to you, they can sue, or in general something happens to you, you can sue back to the store. So they just want you to kind of stay away from it. I had a friend that worked at Kmart years back, and somebody stole something from like his department. And he went outside to like try to get it because the security, they couldn't go past like the front door.
Yeah.
So then he went out and he kind of followed the guy around trying to like grab the stuff, I guess. I don't know, something like that. And then when he ended up coming back, like they found out what he did, and then they had to let him go.
No.
Yeah. They're like, you put yourself at risk, and it was pretty much like, put yourself at risk, and we can't have that here.
I remember back in the day when I worked at Lowe's, it was my first job. I was like 17. And they had LP, loss prevention, and it was like, back then it was serious. It was like, they were plainclothes guys, and they're watching the cameras, and they stand in the aisles like if they saw someone suspect.
It was exactly like that.
Yeah, and I remember one time, dude, like this guy grabbed a power tool, like a drill, and he tried to take off running, and the LP was at the end of the end cap at the aisle, and he fucking clotheslined him. Boom! And the guy just like, his feet went up in the air.
Yeah.
And he hit the ground, but he didn't get fired. Everybody was like, yeah, like, fucking good job, Juan. Like, you got him, But this is 2006, 2000, and some shit like that. So it was, even then it was different, And but yeah, and then Lowe's is like based out of North Carolina, so I think that they're a little more conservative. They didn't give a fuck. They were like, here's a bonus, bro. But yeah, I saw it in Huntington Park where like they were robbing dispensaries left and right, because it was right when dispensaries got opened up, and Huntington Park's kind of it's a rough area, and they were robbing dispensaries. And then I remember, and I know this story because I went out, I saw the news, and I saw the reporter from KCAL9 News, and I went and took a picture of her, and I was like, what's going on? And then it turned out that this kid, 17-year-old kid, and his friends tried to rob this dispensary, and dispensaries, like, they set up like these flimsy ass, like, they just put up drywall to make like a lobby.
Yeah.
And the owner was looking at the camera as these guys are walking in with masks on, and he fucking shot his 12 gauge through the wall and just cut this kid in half, dude. And that was a big deal. I think that's when they stopped even like offering licenses to dispensaries in HP. And it was a big deal, but it stopped the robbing. Like, it's a bad way to stop theft, but it did. And again, like, I'm not for people getting killed, but I think that's going to happen. I think that's definitely what's going to happen.
Yeah. So how we were talking about how the conversation kind of started is just, I think it's they should keep it the same how it is, where it's a little bit difficult to try to get the gun, right?
Yeah.
But to make it a little bit easier for the concealed carry portion of it.
Yeah.
But I guess how would the transition be like if they allowed it to be a lot easier here in California, right? Like, yeah, you're right. There, a lot of stuff wouldn't happen like that, you know, robberies, anything like that, because now all these people that would walk into stores would be scared, right? Because now you'll have like 50 people that are like, well, what if you do something wrong or you scare somebody's kid? All of a sudden you're stuck, right?
Yeah.
But then how many other, we have too many people here, so, you know, so how is it? I guess you would have to kind of wait and see how it would work out. But I firmly believe that, you know, if you can, you should be able to try to conceal carry.
I think that right now the way to get one is you have to go to the sheriff's department.
You do.
You have to
for your county.
Yeah, you have to do like an interview with them and everything. You have to give them a good reason why, like you're a security guard or a private investigator. But I think that that's the wrong department to have you choose who does what, because it's a biased department. And we know in LA County that for sure the sheriff's department has gangs within the sheriff's department.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up where I grew up, I knew that like the headhunters was a crew within the sheriff's department, and these guys have the tattoos on them and everything. So like, not to mention that like law enforcement has a brotherhood within themselves where they're like, you know, and I get it to a certain extent where they're like, man, fuck regular people, like they're not, you know, they're not us type of thing. So I don't think they should choose who the fuck gets to conceal carry and who doesn't. I think it should be more of a like neutral, maybe for some form of like government entity where like you get to like volunteer, like try to get in. You have to be qualified to be one of the, like a board of different people that gets to make decisions on like, okay, we're gonna go through all these applications of concealed carries and then see who's justified. Like if you're you know, a business owner in a rough area and you want to conceal carry, or if you just if you have no criminal record and you have no mental health mental health issues and you want to conceal carry, then I think that there should be like a neutral entity that's not the sheriff's department that gets to, you know, give you the license to do it or not. Kind of like fish and game type of thing.
The thing is, probably all the people that would be there would be ex-cops.
Yeah.
Everybody from the same type of departments, and they'll probably get paid even better. So like, I don't have to deal with all this.
Damn, bro, it's wild. I mean, and it's, I mean, if you think about the back in the Wild West, like, you know, people were shooting at each other, you know, but it was like, well, I wonder what the theft rate, what the numbers were back then. And don't get me wrong, now is the safest time ever.
Yeah,
you know, but
you just get to see it, and it's sometimes overly exaggerated. But yes, it is the safest time ever.
You know,
even right now, going to any of the streets, right? Like it used to be really ghetto going through certain parts of LA or even certain parts of IE, and it's, I don't know, a little bit safer. Yeah, it's a lot of it is more mental on your end too, where you go in there and you're like, well, I don't like dark, it looks kind of sketchy, but it is a lot safer.
I think the IE, man, like the IE was never bad, or not. I'm not gonna say never bad. I wasn't out there enough to say that. I would say that it was less populated before, and you had some form of crime, but I think LA made it worse.
Yeah,
I think the rent spikes when in LA, when investors went into LA and started buying up properties, and they were doing flips, and they were selling like these Mickey Mouse remodeled properties. They eliminated the opportunity for a lot of people in South Central to buy in their own neighborhoods, and a lot of these people moved to the Inland Empire, to San Bernardino, to Fontana, to Riverside, and because rents were just cheaper. And I think they turned San Bernardino into what it is now, because San Bernardino's gotten fucking bad. And then Moreno Valley, I remember Moreno Valley.
Moreno Valley was nothing. Nothing.
I remember my grandparents lived in Badger Spring, it's like Badger Springs Road or some shit like that in Moreno Valley. And it was, even before that, they lived in like right next to the Sunkiss factory in like Chino or Ontario.
My brother lived right next to that. Like literally right next to it.
Dude, there was dirt roads still. Like when they moved out there, and you could see it like orange, the orange lighting from the thing. And it was dirt roads. Like even the alley behind their house was dirt. And then you started seeing people move that way, you know, from LA. When they moved to Moreno Valley, like the neighbors were from South Central. And it was just like, and you started seeing it. And then that's just, I remember, I'll never forget, like we were hanging out. I met the neighbors and they're like, yeah, I'm from South Central. And they're like, what about you? And I'm like, I'm from Huntington Park. And then they were like, the conversation turned into like, yeah, like, I was like, I know people from Avalon 111th. And they're like, yeah, you know, so and so and so. And I was like, oh shit, like we brought the ghetto out here, you know, like that's really what it was. But I think that's what happened in the IE, man. Like poor Jenny 69 getting jumped by cholas in your hood,
Yeah.
dude. Like that's because where did you? What's your like? What would you consider your city in the that part? Where'd you grow up in out there?
Oh, Ontario.
Ontario.
I grew up in Ontario, and I moved out to Riverside for a little bit, but then I'm in Ontario now.
Did you see it change?
Yeah, well, big change. When we were in Ontario, I guess it was just during a time where everybody was still kind of like trying to be gang related, right?
Yeah.
Because you're right, a lot of people did move down this way, and everybody just likes to be in like little cults. That's just what it is. That's
tribalism.
That's really what it was. I was living by where my family's at right now, which is Bongi Street, and there was always something going on there. And then my brother moved into Sunkist Street, literally right next to it. And Sunkist Street has Park Street, a couple of streets, literally like one block, everybody was like claiming something, right?
Yeah.
But it was during a time where it was normalized. You know, everybody liked to do it. And luckily everybody that was in some kind of gang or anything like that just started to grow up and realize that, you know, they have responsibilities and they started getting older and they wanted to do better. But that's where I grew up, Ontario.
I remember, you know, again, like these places were 30 minutes away from LA. So it was like unimaginable to go out and hang out that way. But I remember when there was like parties, like there used to be this thing called like Gotham, and it was way out there in an Empire. So if you wanted to go party out there, you had to, it felt like the boonies. It was like, oh shit, you're going to the middle of nowhere. But it still wasn't like what it is now. Like now, again, like you have like Redlands, all that shit. Like I remember Redlands is nice still. I would say it's still nice, but you can see the change. Like Ukaipa, even from a couple years ago to now, they have like a whole, and those cities now are fighting to like keep LA out because they think they realize like, oh shit, like what's going on. And
well, in certain sections, yeah, like Redlands, stuff like that, like you can tell they are trying to keep what they kind of have. Right. Talking about like if Ontario changed or not, well, it went from being a lot of open land, a lot of open area to it's becoming really big and industrialized. But it only makes sense. You have a airport, you have Ontario Mills Mall, right? One of the big malls. They have a lot going on there. So it was only bound for them to grow the city, make it better. They got a Top-Golf.
They do.
Yeah,
dude,
they got a Top. Once you have a Top-Golf, you know you're kind of making it. they did good there. Whoever brought that on board, they're like, yeah, I got the Top.
I think like Adelanto and all those fucking places are next, like Apple Valley.
No. I was just talking about that. It was with my brother. That eventually you're gonna get some big companies that are gonna start moving there because I know of at least one or two companies that are gonna open up shop over there. Well, when they do that, right, you're gonna start seeing more and more because right now a lot of people are traveling down, but you're gonna start seeing those big companies there, and some people are probably gonna be traveling up, or you're gonna take whatever's there, and start employing. But when that time comes, I will guarantee maybe 50, 60 years from now, they're gonna open up another path. So right now it's just one way up, right? But they're gonna open it up. Well, technically you can go another. There's two,
like the 60 or the 10.
There's two different ways to go up, but one of them takes longer. They're gonna eventually like.
I fucking hate that drive, by the way, bro. Like I do not like it. My family, my mom had lived in Ukaipa. I fucking rarely went out there because I hated the fucking drive. When I was working as like doing regional sales, and they would ask me like, okay, one day go to Colton, and then I hated it, bro. I don't know why. I'll drive 30 minutes into downtown.
Yeah, and that's what's funny. I guess because wherever I live at, if you travel anywhere, even if you're going up the hill, right, to like Victorville, you know, thinking about it, that's like an hour. I hate the LA area because in LA, you're a 15-minute drive turns into an hour.
Yes.
So it's like the same thing. So I guess we're used to driving longer distances for the same amount of time. You're just short distance.
You know what it is too? Is that I feel it longer because there's so much open land out there, and you're looking at it and you're like, fuck, there's nothing. Like on the way there, and you're stuck in traffic, and you're looking to the left, and there's fucking like just mountains and shit, and you're like, fuck, like I'm in the middle of nowhere. as opposed to where you're like sitting in traffic for 20 minutes in LA. You're like, well, I'm on the 110. You're still mad, but you're like, look at that guy poking his nose. You know, I guess. I don't know.
I guess you hate that drive as much as I hate it, like going to Carson. That felt extremely long.
Really?
And yeah, because to get to Carson didn't really take long, but leaving Carson when I had to like come back home, it took me like 30, 40 minutes just to get out of that little area, you know, and that was 30, 40 minutes. And I still had to drive like another 40 minutes to like an hour. I was
people like, I think like me, well, we know LA so well. We're like, I'll get on the freeway, bro, and I'll see it and I'll hop off. Like if you were telling me like, oh, you had to get from Carson, you know, get it out of Carson, I would have told you like, man, you need to hop off the 91 and jump on Alondra or one of these like streets and then hop back on. And maybe you end up spending more time doing that, but it just feels like you're
doing something.
It feels like you're doing something productive. But you know, it is what it is. Speaking of ghetto, your Raiders, you think they're turning it around, huh?
Well, they lost the last game. There was a lot of upside onto it, but I think they are going to turn it around. Yeah. I think the next game we play is going to be an easy one.
It's funny because I have a big ass smile on my face because in my head I'm like, only a Raider fan can say we lost the last one, but it was really good.
Well, it's because I'm comparing it to what I seen at the beginning of the season.
Bless your heart, Papa.
Yeah. I'm comparing it to what I've seen at the beginning of the season.
Yeah,
you know, I went to the Bears game where the Bears were like the worst team in the league, and everybody, when I was there, everybody was saying, "Hey, yeah, they're nice win that you guys are gonna get." And we're like, "Dude, we're the Raiders. You don't even know what's gonna happen, right?" But they were the worst team, and that was one of the worst games I've ever seen live. We looked terrible.
It's funny because my Raul, he was like he was telling me about his son and like how his son still gets like super upset when they lose, and that he can hear him upstairs like yelling at like the plays, like, no, like run the ball, you know. And he was telling me, he's like, you know, he's like, the hilarious part is that he's a young Raider and that he's like, oh man, like just, you know, he's like preparing him for like the heartbreaks and the heartaches, you know. He's like, he's gonna build his character up, you know.
It's like a lifetime of disappointment right there.
But see, and look, man, I'll give you this. And early in the season, you guys had there was no way that the Patriots way was gonna work in the Raiders organization, and that's what McDaniels is really trying to do. Like Garoppolo and like all the staff from the Patriots that he brought over, like that was never gonna work. And also, I had heard that story where he said that the coach you guys have now gave a speech when McDaniels was there, and that he brought up the Patriots and then how the Giants beat the Patriots and they were underdogs.
I think it was when they were undefeated in 2007.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that after the speech, McDaniels was like, "Don't ever talk bad about the Patriots again."
Yeah.
You know, that to me is like, it's fucking crazy. I started to think like maybe Belichick did fucking send him as a dissenter, you know, but I don't think that was gonna work. I think that your new guy wearing the black forces and being like, being from Compton, and he's like, you know, I'm straight out of fucking Compton and we're Raiders and that there's a big part of it. I think that it's like any job, you have to buy into the culture, you know, and I think that he's really bought in. It looks like Mark Davis is not gonna let him go. I don't think he should have let go of the first coach after Chucky. He should have kept that guy.
Yeah.
But I think that now he's not gonna let this guy go, and I think in part of it is because he still has to pay Chucky and McDaniels. So I don't think he could afford to go out and get the defensive coordinator for the Cowboys, who he's popular right now, and everybody's expecting that once the season's over, that he's gonna start getting offers to be a head coach.
I don't know, man.
He was the coach of the Falcons. He's the one that lost that.
He was at the door. The only reason that he kept his job is because they drafted Micah Parsons. Without Micah Parsons, that team would look completely different. And I honestly think that even if he does leave, you can probably get any other defensive person, and that team's still gonna they're gonna be good because they have that one piece that will make any coach look good.
I don't even think it's Michael Parsons that makes us look that good on defense this time. Look, Michael Parsons last night. Anytime
you watch the game, he's the only yes. There's a lot of plays that are being made from the
defensive
backs, but why is it happening? Because Michael Parsons they have to let go of the ball faster.
Well,
because he's like on top of their ass every single game.
I'm not gonna say Michael Parsons is a big part. I think that it's it's the combination of Michael Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence.
Mhm.
They have like decent defensive lines that they don't need to put as much pressure. They just need to do their fucking job. And then Michael Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence will push in on the edge. And then you're right. They do have to get the ball out faster. I think Deron Bland last night was getting exposed. Like he was fucking, they were beating his ass up. And I think this is a problem with the Cowboys is that they start getting in their own fucking head. Like they start thinking that they're better than they are. And the argument is always like, we're playing teams that are under 500. And look, man, I put this on Facebook last night. I make no apologies for that because the NFL is a business. And Jerry Jones and his $6 billion team, I'm sure, get some like hookups. And you can see with the Raiders how they're the black sheep. They're like the stepson that they don't love, because they get the hardest schedule. Goodell fired your guys' fucking coach, So like, yes, you guys are the black sheep because Al Davis started so much shit with the NFL in the beginning, and maybe they hold a grudge, but it's a fucking business. Like if I happen to, like Trump said, right? He's like, you remember when Hillary was like, he cheats on his taxes. He's like, it's because I'm smart. So it's like, if we get a good schedule, I'm like,
you're going to take it.
I'm going to take it. Now, here's my hopes, right? I hope that when we get to the playoffs or when we get to the close to the playoffs, I hope that the Eagles play the Niners and that we just have to beat the Lions and then we play the Eagles. Because I do not want to face the Niners. Not that like they're such a good team. I just think they have our number. Like the Chiefs tend to have the Raiders numbers, the Broncos. There are certain teams that it's just always a fucking like hectic game. And I don't want them to face the Niners. I think that it would be a good grudge game. Like, okay, like let's see, but the Niners are good. And then we play Philly next. I think we could beat Philly.
Yes, you can because it's a rivalry game. So
we're playing in Dallas.
It depends on where you would be playing. As of right now, you would play in Philadelphia.
Well, no, I'm saying their next regular season game for the Cowboys is in Dallas.
We have to see how that's going to go. And then this weekend, you're going to get the Eagles versus the Niners. That's going to be a good game. I really want to see that because I really think the Niners would have beat them last year.
Yeah.
But obviously injuries and stuff like that. But that next one should be a good one. We'll find out what Dallas is really made out of because, yes, they won yesterday.
Dak looked good.
Dak always looks good against a team that's like 500 less.
But these guys aren't 500.
They were 500.
They were 6-5. Yeah, 6-5.
Close to 5.
There's no winning.
Look, I don't want to give any props to the Cowboys. I hate the fans. I hate them to death. I have those friends that are just annoying. I just can't do it. But I like Michael Parsons. But I still hate everybody. I hate everything else about them.
I try my best to be the redemption of that. Like I try my best to not talk shit. I go last night. It's funny. Shout out to Alan if he's hearing this. But like I know him since high school. Maybe since middle school. I want to say, since like middle school, junior high. But he's an Eagles fan. So like I put, the Cowboys are fucking defeating themselves in the beginning when there was penalties like a motherfucker in that game. And I put the Cowboys are defeating themselves. And then he came on there and he was like, just right away, like aggressive, like, fuck the Cowboys. I can't even remember what he put, And I put something like relax, like chill, bro. Like, and I'm trying to like, I'm not the shit talking fan anymore because that shit is so like, bro, you ruin relationships over that shit, And
it's because you hit people in the heart when they're the most vulnerable.
Yeah. So he's like, Dak I go, Dak looks good. And he's like, well, against teams that are under 500. And I'm like, relax. And he's like, numbers don't lie. And I was like, if numbers didn't lie, Dak would have a fucking a ring because he puts up numbers, but then the Cowboys defeat themselves. Like they'll fucking do something stupid. They'll lose in the playoffs. They'll make the Dak will start throwing interceptions like a motherfucker. So I think that he does look good sometimes. I think that football is an any given Sunday sport. Like you don't have to look good all the fucking time. I think that there are certain people that just look they're good, man. Like Aaron Rodgers doesn't look great all the time, but he's clutch in the moments, Yeah. Tom Brady, clutch. But I think that like even Tom Brady, let's say Tom Brady's greatness, it comes from a lot of like any given Sunday accidents or mistakes. He wouldn't have one of those rings if they run the ball with Marshawn Lynch. he wouldn't have another one of those rings if for the tuck rule, right? Like there's so many things that are just fucking pure luck in football. Like you're not gonna argue to me that he's the GOAT because of the tuck rule. Like that he knows that was a fucking fumble, you know? I saw the video with him and Charles Woodson where Charles Woodson's like, you know, and then the whole Russell Wilson shit, like that wasn't Tom Brady's greatness. That was just any given Sunday type of shit, you know? So I think that the Cowboys, all they really need, man, is a little bit of luck. Like a little bit of like any given Sunday type of shit, like just shit to go their way. And that's what I'm saying. Like shit in my head, shit going our way would be if the Eagles knock out the Niners, we can beat the Lions, and then we play the Eagles for the NFC title, and then go
in Philly.
Fuck.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
It's a tough road. It's gonna go through either Philly or San Fran.
I'd rather do it in Philly than San Fran. I'd rather, and then go see KC.
I guess because you guys, a rivalry game can go either way. That's a for sure any given Sunday.
But the Niners have traditionally knocked us out of the playoffs. Traditionally, you know, that's why I don't want to see them, because now they feel like it's like
they just have a mental step.
Yeah, or it's like, and then the Cowboys are going into it like, oh fuck, here come the guys that knock us out. Yeah, as opposed to like, let's go beat the Eagles. Yeah, but yeah, man, I and then go see KC, because I do think KC is coming out as like the front runner. It's not gonna be the Bills.
They're no, definitely not. No, it probably would be KC. Because you just can't forget about them. Like they're on any given Sunday, I would give them a chance of 60% winning over any team anywhere, because they have Patrick Mahomes. It's just as he's real good, and they're clutch. Talking about Tom Brady, you know, being clutch when he needs to. Aaron Rodgers, like he's as clutch as it can be without even having receivers dropping passes all the time.
And if it's a business, they got Taylor Swift on the team now too.
She'll be there.
She'll be there.
She'll be there. Yeah,
she's gonna imagine the draw that of course, I'm telling you, it's a business. If we're finding out now that the NBA does calls on players, like the refs do certain calls in order to make it sway certain ways. Like, come on, man, you tell me the NFL doesn't do the same thing?
Yeah, no, they definitely do.
Last night was fucking crazy on flags. Like they at least twice they picked up 2 flags on there's no penalty. To me, man, like the NFL, I hope they had a conversation with their officials today where they're like, hey guys, like fucking relax. Like let the game go on. Like let the game play. The Cowboys, bro, got at least 4 first downs on
the flags, yeah.
On flags.
And then they scored because of the flags and everything. Yeah. Some of them were legitimate. Some of them were like, you don't have to call that one. But either way, the game turned out the way it was.
Stephon Gilmore got one. You saw one? You saw that when they
was that I didn't watch the first half of the game. I only watched the second half.
They did. I remember Stephon Gilmore. He was young, prime time like Colt. He was fucking great. I think now this is like, I'm glad we got him when we got him, because you can see like he got a penalty off of passing interference, and it was like you know when you see a player and you're like, oh, he did that because he didn't have to. He's tired. Like he grabbed them like last resort. Yeah. So he took the penalty instead of the TD on him. Yeah. You know, so. And then DK Metcalf, fucking that guy can run, bro. When I saw him beat Bland, and I saw Bland running after him, I was like, bro, you're not gonna catch him. Yeah, you're not gonna catch him. Like
that guy's a freak of nature. I remember him coming out of college. He was able to squat like over 700-800. He was
that's crazy.
He was extremely strong, extremely built, can jump extremely high. He was the overall just a freak.
Dude,
but his biggest problem was like he would drop a lot of balls, you know. So he went from being a first round pick to I think a second round pick. Yeah, and then he ended up being able to figure it out.
I was impressed, and I know you won't give him his due credit, but I was impressed with Dak's strength when he
was about to get sacked and he got out of it. Yeah,
that was impressive, bro.
I kind of jumped up. I was like, yeah, damn. And I just say it's because every single time there's a play like that, my friends just they go ridiculously buck loud. But I guess everybody would be the same.
I don't go crazy. I was just like, damn, he's fucking strong. And I'm telling you, I was getting my haircut, and she had the game on, and her husband was there, and I sounded so gay because I was like, oh my god, his legs are so strong. he has thick, strong legs. And then I thought about it and I was like, yeah, I'm fucking admiring Dak's thick, strong legs. I was like, it's pretty gay, dog. You know? But yeah, no, I was like, that was a little impressive. And then, and I, I thought that was good. And I thought, Tony Pollard they had like I think 200 or 137 yards, something like that running. I think it's good. It's a test. It must suck to be Zeke in New England and watch that shit and be like, fuck, I really was unnecessary. But then the relationship between Dak and CeeDee Lamb looks really, really good too.
Yeah, they're actually getting better.
Yeah.
Them to the combo.
Yeah. You think you guys, so how far do you think you guys will go?
To be honest, looking at the season, we'll win the next one. We play the Vikings. We should win that one.
They got that hot shot fucking quarterback who replaced Kirk Cousins, who was with the Cardinals not so long ago.
Yeah, Josh Dobbs. I think that's his name.
Yep.
Yeah, technically, we can win out the rest of the season, but really not gonna do much with it. It depends on what they're gonna do to finish off the season. I like the rookie quarterback. He's getting better. He's not making the mistakes. Obviously, they just need to get a better offensive coordinator. The coach, depending on how he ends the season, if he wins all out, I say you keep him. Because you got to play into that role. So the Cowboys, right? They give him a little star. They're like the team that everybody hypes up because the team, people either love them or hate them, right?
America's team.
Fuck it, America's team.
What do you hate America now, Eric?
No, man. Who gave him America's team, man? They're not America's team.
Jerry Jones is great marketing.
He's a genius. Mm-hmm. But they're a highlight, and the Raiders, people know they're like, you can say they're the black sheep. If you can ride that whole Compton commitment to excellence, you build a defense, you're a hard-hitting team. Mm-hmm. Not to say you want to cause injuries, but like,
but it's football, dude.
Yeah, it's football. But if you go back into the old way where you hit them in the mouth, right? You run it up the gut. You play action. You go deep. Like you go back to their old way. I think this coach could do it. They could be that team that people like to watch because it's like, oh, look, it's the Raiders again. Oh, they're gonna get hit in the mouth. Like they're gonna sack you. They're gonna drop you down. Yeah, you'll get a penalty here and there, but look, it comes with the game.
I like what Look, I'll watch the Raider game out of spite, right? Like, because I want to watch them fucking, like, I'm like, oh, like my son, it's awesome. My son's at the age, bro, where he's like he's a fucking Cowboys fan, he's like legit hardcore. Like yesterday he was getting his haircut and they scored, and before I could even say anything, like I didn't say anything, I was quiet, but before I could say anything, I hear from behind me, he's like, let's go, and that's dope. So I was watching the Raider game, and then he goes, what are you watching? And I go, the football game. And he goes, that's not the Cowboys. And I go, I know, but I'm going for the other team. And I forgot who the fuck you guys are playing, but I said, like, I'm going for the red ones or some shit like that. Mm-hmm. And then he goes, but those aren't the Cowboys, Pop. He's like, you can't go for anybody that's not the Cowboys. And I was like, you know what? You're right, dude. Like, I can't, and that was a dope ass moment. But I watched the Raider game because I want to see, not because I want to watch them lose. Yes, I do want to watch them lose. I don't want them to win. Mm-hmm. But yes, you guys get views off of the same reason why people watch the Cowboys. You want to watch them lose, Mm-hmm. I think that you guys, you guys absolutely should embrace, and I think you guys do a good job of embracing the darkness. You guys have the black hole, and like your fucking fans are like fucking insane, and I think that's why Oakland was so good.
Yeah, like, it was perfect for them for that reason. Because
going into Oakland, like I remember parking and walking, and you walk under the BART, which is like the metro over there, and it's fucking scary.
You're walking like, yeah, this is the Raiders.
Yeah, you're like, holy shit, I might get stabbed, like this is fucking crazy. And then the fans are just fucking the Cowboys, I feel like they're like the light of the NFL,
the light of the NFL.
And the Raiders are like these fucking, like, I'll fucking throw dirt in your eye type of guys, and that to me, that's what football should be. Like, I remember my uncles teach me football, and they would tell me, like, at the bottom of the pile, like, you fucking should be poking into the helmet and dirt in the face and fucking punching. And,
yeah, especially if there's a fumble, like they tell you could bite, you try to do whatever you can and rip off that freaking ball up.
Yeah, man. And I think that's what you guys need to embrace that. And again, I think the NFL is stacked up against you guys. Like, you guys catch penalties, you guys catch stupid fucking just stupid things like the Chucky thing. Like you're not gonna tell me Chucky's only racist in the NFL.
Oh, definitely not.
You know, so
yeah, they dug that one up and they're like, hey, we're just gonna throw this at you too.
But you guys definitely need to get back to some Al Davis shit. Like Al Davis was on some no bullshit type of thing. And I think if he thought the NFL was doing him dirty, he'd come out and be like, I think the fucking NFL. I think that nobody's come out. Like Mark Davis needs to come out and be like, you guys are giving us some bullshit ass fucking schedules. You know, how can I ever compete? You know,
I don't think he's gonna do that.
He's arguing with the fans.
Well, that's because they were telling him like, you have a shitty product out there. Like, get rid of the coach. And he wasn't really arguing. He just got to the point where he got tired of hearing it from everybody and seeing the product on the field. Because I don't know if you saw the video where he was, I think it was in SoFi, and he was chilling and the fans are going by like, fire McDaniels.
Yeah, you saw
fire
that.
McDaniels. And he's just like, yeah. I think he got fed up because I'm telling you that Bears game, I went to the Bears game and I wish I can call him and be like, this is shit.
Bears.
The Bears. I went to that game. That was a shit of a game. And then we played in Detroit the following, I think it was the following Monday on prime time. And everybody's watching that game like, you guys had a chance to win the game and you guys just fucked every single chance up. Like it just looked terrible. Like looked like the team didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah.
And then after that, that's the next day. That's when he let him go. He's like, all right, let's move on.
I think there was turmoil at that point. Like I think there was already like, you know, Garoppolo was already he was already done.
Well, yeah, Garoppolo was already starting to decline a lot more. And I think it was after they had that conversation anyways, where everybody realized like, hey, this coach, like he's playing here. Like he's a coach for the Raiders, but he's not like really a coach. I don't think he's a Raiders. You know, he's not a person. Yeah, he was.
That's what I'm saying. You have to, anything you do, you have to buy in. You have to buy in. And I don't think that guy was bought in.
No, he was trying to have people buy into his Patriot way, which wasn't going to work, you know? So that's why this coach now, you know, being from Compton, being hood.
Black Air Forces.
Yeah, everything. Like he's a Raider, you know? But is he gonna stay as a head coach? We're gonna see how we finish out the season. I also started seeing reports that Mark Davis would like to maybe bring back Chucky if everything goes. What happens with the lawsuit? At this point, I would say you just kind of move forward.
Drop the lawsuit.
Not even drop the lawsuit. I say just move on, like let him go. But does he want to pay him that much to stay at home? Maybe bring him on board, but like not
an
to
executive, a GM.
I don't know. He didn't really have too many great picks. You know, he's a good announcer. He was fantastic, but I don't know.
I like Chucky. I saw the Hard Knocks, and I think that guy builds culture. Like he gets you to buy in, and then there's just the history. Like you guys had him when he was a coach. He was amazing, and then he went to Tampa Bay and came back and fucked you guys. Like, look, I'm gonna show you what you guys lost, type of thing. You know. So I think that, and again, that's a guy who embraces. He's the culture of fucking the Raiders, you know. So I think that I think Chunky would be good for you guys, but I don't see again Roger Goodell and all these fucking Roger Goodell's the dictator of the NFL, man. Like there's no other way of putting it. Like you can see it. And he's tried to change and mask it a little bit, like bringing in Jay-Z and all kinds of shit. But I think Roger Goodell's like a spiteful motherfucker, bro.
Yeah.
Who's like, he's for sure. Definitely holds grudges.
Yeah, he probably has a massive ego.
I'm sure he's never gonna step down. Like, that's not a guy who's gonna fucking one day retire and be like, I think my time has come. That guy's gonna do that until he's old. Like
he's a politician.
He is, man.
He's gonna write it till his last breath.
Fuck. Or unless, I've always said the NFL needs healthy competition. Like, and they need somebody to come in and scare the shit out of them. But I don't think that's gonna happen anytime soon. What have you, we were talking about the IE earlier, and I wanted to tell you something, man. Ever since we became friends, and I've never liked driving out there, but fuck, dude, you're the only one that makes me want to drive out there because you do this shit where you rate food and where you go eat, and then the movies, we've talked about this, but you rate food everywhere you go, and you'll post it, and you fucking always find like these bomb ass places to go eat, and I'm like, I'll look them up, like, you know, and you'll tag them on Instagram, and I'll click on it to see where it's at. And it's in the middle of fucking nowhere, like in San Bernardino or Riverside or some shit. And I'm like, fuck, dude. But yeah, you're always eating good, bro.
Yeah, that's why I look the way I look, man.
You know what I think it is? No, I'm telling you real with you. When I want to go buy food, like street food, I have to buy for 5 people. Like I have to I have to consider like, what are my kids gonna eat from here? You know, I'm like, Eric's like, man, what do I want to go eat that's good? Like you could legit just go and like fucking choose like, man, like I can't. And me and my wife, I'll tell her sometimes like, let's go and fucking just have like just breakfast, me and you, but we'll go and then she'll be there. She'll be like, oh, what about the kids? And I'm like, fuck those kids.
Yeah. my brother's the same way.
Yeah. But see you like, last time you ate a breakfast, bro, I want to say it was like some sick ass breakfast. I still think about, what's that sandwich you got? It was like French toast and like in syrup. There's a name for it. No. Fuck, I forgot what it's.
I don't remember.
I want to say Donnie Brasco.
Yeah, but isn't that the one that we ate when we were both working?
Yeah, that's the one we ate. Yeah. I'm telling you, I still think about that one.
Yeah, I just tried it because it sounded delicious. What was it, like a pancake?
It was like
with like
French. No, it was like French toast sandwich
as a bun. Yeah, as a bun. Yeah,
with like egg and bacon and stuff. And I was like,
but that's because I'm a breakfast person. Most people will see that and they'll be like, "Oh, I'm not a breakfast person." Like I'm a breakfast person. I can eat, eggs and bacon and sausage, all that. Yeah, I can eat that in the afternoon, at nighttime, before bed. Like I just like the breakfast type of food.
You just eat good, bro. Like it fucking seems like you eat well. Like that's just.
I only eat well on the weekend. during the week, it's a consistent thing. Some kind of breakfast. And then a basic lunch for work, because if I eat too much during work hours and I get all lazy and tired, and then at night, try to get something home cooked. If anything, go to the movies like on a Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
Try to get a deal somewhere. And
I was Napoleon.
It was good. It was good. It's a pretty much a storyline type of movie, right? It had a lot of great action to it, but it was from beginning to end. It was just learning the story of it, and that guy's a good actor.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, Joaquin Phoenix.
I loved him in Walk the Line. Like Walk the Line was the one where I was like, oh shit, Joaquin Phoenix is a shit.
Yeah.
And then Joker, obviously, but I know he's good. I'm a big like history buff. Mm-hmm. So Napoleon Bonaparte, like I know some of the stories, but it's one of those like I'm excited to go watch it. I told my wife like, let's go watch it because it came out Thanksgiving, but we just haven't had time since then. And I've been debating, like, I wonder if I should go watch it by myself because it's long, right? It's like a long ass movie.
Yeah, it's almost like, I think it's like 2.5 hours, maybe close to 3.
Yeah.
A lot of dialogue. So definitely not something you should be watching like late at night. Mm-hmm. I think when we watched it sometime like midday.
Do they show the part where like that famous story of like Napoleon being put on an island and then he comes back?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, they covered that. Exactly.
Oh, man, I can't wait for that. Yeah. That's fucking dope. Like when you think about it, bro, like I think the movie with Alexander the Great with Colin Farrell wasn't
that wasn't a what kind of movie was it?
Like biography. It was like a fucking Hollywood.
Yeah, that was 100% like, hey, let's just make a movie. Let's go use this actor and let's see if we can make money. This one was. They used a great actor. They used the storyline, everything. Like it just followed in line. I've read and I'll deep do like there's this good History Dose is a YouTube channel. It's fucking great. Mm-hmm. And they do like just 5-minute videos, 10-minute videos of history, and they have like longer ones. But when I watch those, bro, I'm like, fuck, like that's amazing that like these guys like Napoleon took over the known fucking world at that point, like, and this is the time before transportation was what it is now. So imagine like convincing 8,000 motherfuckers to like march across a continent. Like that's fucking insane to me, like logistically it's fucking insane. Like it's funny because the movie doesn't like, it moves pretty quickly, right? Like he's at one war and he's at another war, which that it takes time to get there. But there was one point where he's like going into Russia and they're like walking straight through. And I look at my girlfriend, I'm like, hey, like they kind of just walked there. How long do you think it took them to get there? And she just looks at me. She's like, is that what you're thinking about? I'm like, yeah, like 100%. Like if we're driving there, that's going to be a long drive. These guys are walking there in the cold. They're having to sleep. I'm like, what do you think they like take a shit? What are they eating? They get there and then they get there.
I wonder if they left the shit trail. Right?
Like, I think they probably put it on the sides, man. They probably just had little sections.
But I'm saying, like, you have to, like, a rape trail. Like, honestly, like, let's be honest, like a pillaging trail. Like, fuck. I mean, we know, like, World War II, there's a bunch of,
they did that, yeah.
bastard kids out there, American kids. But, like, and then that too, bro. I wonder, like, if you're let's say you're an army of 8,000, right? when you're giving this speech, like let's say how many people are really fucking hearing you? Like if you're the guy way in the back, how are you staying that motivated?
Tell me why I thought about that too.
Right?
There's a scene where he's like going through the horse. He's on the horse, and he's like the first line.
Yeah.
He's like giving a speech, and then I'm thinking, I'm like, damn, how far back you think people can hear? Because it was only the first row, and he's like, he barely yelled it, and I'm like, there's like another 20,000 people behind that. Like,
how do you stay motivated? Like you're the guy way in the back, and you're like, what the fuck did he just say? Like, how do you?
Well, what if somebody says something to the person, right? So like somebody in the front grabs it, and then they tell the person in the back. What do you think the message is from the very front to the very, very back?
Shane, I don't know if you haven't looked up Shane Gillis, you need to go look up Shane Gillis. He's a fucking hilarious comedian, but he has this whole bit on. He's like, can you imagine? He's like the Civil War. He's like, now we think about the Civil War. He's like, but the Civil War was like, a guy came up from the South and rode his horse up into the North and was like, hey, like, and then he's like, you're in Philadelphia, and then you're like, what the fuck did they say in the South? He's like, fuck that. I'm grabbing my musket. I'm gonna march for like 3 months. I'll be back. Like, I'm marching all the way down there for 3 months to fucking tell him, like, bro, that was fucking insane.
Yeah.
Like to think, like, okay, I'll be back, babe. I'm gonna go off to war for 5 fucking years and maybe come back and wait for me. And who the fuck? How did they even tell like their loved ones or wives are like, I'm still alive? Like again, the logistics of that shit blows my fucking mind. How do you keep 20,000 people fed, moving?
All of it. Yeah, that's well, a lot of them were starving on the way as well too. They would try to kill whatever they could. It was also during a time where you can actually get a lot of wildlife, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I know that was part of it, but
Alexander the Great stopped conquering because he was just like, that's it. Like, I'm fucking, like, I'm not going to be able to, like, and I think they negotiated. I think he got to like a certain part of the East, like the Middle East. And they were just like, you know what? We don't even want the smoke, bro. Like we'll fall in line. And then he stopped. And then I think he just died in the Byzantine, like out that way because he couldn't get back to fucking Greece. Like you had just traveled years. And again, like this is what blows my fucking mind. Like I World War II, like Hitler was defeated because he tried to push into Russia and was unprepared for the winter and to go in there.
Yeah, and that's another thing that they brought up with Napoleon as well too. Like everybody, you gotta take that into consideration. You're not just walk in, take over, and then take over everything there. Like with Napoleon, they left Russia there. They, what was it? Their key city. They just left it
like Stalingrad or Leningrad or probably like Moscow.
I think it was Moscow.
Yeah.
When Napoleon got there, it was empty. They just left them there, and then they burned their own city down. They started a fire when they were there, and they're like, "You can keep it."
Yeah.
Because they had nothing else to do. They're like, "Oh, they're just gonna give us this." It was so big, and then they had to get back. And when they get back, they lost like a big portion of the people as well.
That too. I wonder how you keep like your government in place. Like let's say you take over Russia, and then you're like, okay, now I'm going back to Italy or I'm going back to France. How do you keep them in line? Like it's insane. Like and now I think maybe the answer is like you see it now with like look at the places that Ukraine lost in their war against Russia. The first places they lost was all the Russian speaking border cities on the border of Russia. So it's like maybe that could be your land, but it's never really yours because of the language. Like California, like Southern California is predominantly Hispanic, and it's like there's a lot of communities that speak Spanish. So it's like you can see the remnants of what was here before, but Mexico's never gonna get this back. It's not like a bunch of Californians are gonna just be like, yeah, we're gonna revolutionize to Mexico. So it's like I wonder how the fuck if you had to instill. Like either you were really good, like, and you're like, okay, I wanna be part of this government, I want to be part of this, or you scare the fuck out of people and you're like, get out of line and you see what happens. Because I feel like maybe that's what the Romans did, like the Romans back in the day were like, fucking hail Caesar or die, and it worked, I guess, to a certain extent.
It was communist, yeah. It had to. You just had to just play it.
I wonder if it was like technology, if it was like, look, dude, like we discovered aqueducts, so if we take over, we'll give you plumbing. If that had something to do with it, I don't know, man. Like just the logistics of it is fucking blows my fucking mind.
Yeah, I know. In the movie, like he was writing letters every day and sending it over and hoping he was getting it back. I'm like, well, sending the letters.
That's my thing. Like some fucking guy.
You have one person to go drop it off and then come back. We have multiple people. I don't know.
I think maybe too working with people like in my industry, has like killed my hope for people. Where I'm like, I'd send a motherfucker out to like take this letter, and then halfway through, it's like, oh, I fucking went to go see my girl, and it's like, dude, you fucking loser, like. Because I deal with that all the time where it's like I send somebody to work and they're like, oh, I couldn't make it. Like, and you're fucking telling me to the next day, you asshole. So I imagine he had to have dealt with that, right? Like there's no other. It's just, I don't know. Unless people were much better back then.
Yeah, no, they were. It was a different time too. If somebody had a job, that was their primary job. I'm pretty sure they wouldn't go do it.
How do you, I wonder if, seriously, man, like how afraid they were of Napoleon, like because they were legit. They put him on a fucking island because they were like, this guy's fucking too powerful. He's too good.
Well, think of it like this. That was during a time where you can pretty much get control of a good amount of people and they would just go kill others. So yes, he was scary for that reason, right? But that was their mistake, is that they, instead of like killing him off, they just put him on an island and be like, oh, we'll desert him. Leave him there.
Yeah.
No, he just came back. He's like, you know what? I'm just gonna take what's mine back. And people follow. They're like, oh yeah, let's go,
dude. I mean, if you think about it, America couldn't figure out the logistics to exit Iraq, and Napoleon was fucking figuring this shit out hundreds and hundreds of years ago. Like, what the fuck? But I don't know, man. I'm telling you, I can't wait to see that movie. I'm excited. I saw your rating for it. And you gave it like an 8, I think.
I think I gave it like a 9.5.
Yeah, 9.5.
I was gonna originally give it a 9, but my girlfriend, she absolutely, she's like 10, 10, 10. I'm like,
not just because of that, I give it. I'm gonna knock it down.
Yeah, I wasn't knocking it down a full 1. One of my buddies watched it, and he's like, I liked it. It was just a lot of dialogue. I'm like, it just depends on the mood that you're in. If you're tired, and it's a really good movie, and it's a lot of dialogue, yeah, you're probably not gonna rate it high because you were tired and you're trying to stay awake.
Yeah. But
if you watch it in the morning and you enjoy it more, it's it just depending on how you walk into the movie, you're gonna rate it differently.
I want to go watch it really bad, dude. But I really, really do. Like I said, history to me is what's the saying? Like, if you don't study history, you're doomed to repeat it.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
So I think that's Napoleon and all these guys are good. Like, it's a danger because look, we're that now, right? Like, we're the Napoleon of the world. America is, and we definitely do crazy shit. Or like right now, when you said like we get a group of people, back then you can get a group of people to convince them to go kill other people. I was like, yeah, the army, like. Yeah, Papa, it's called the Marines. Like, go kill all those fucking people over there. They're terrorists, and you're like, fuck yeah, like drop a bomb on them. So it's like, yeah, I mean, it's nuts, and we'll see what happens. But this episode was a shorter episode because it's probably their fucking earliest episode, and both of us still got to go to work.
Yeah, and you just started a new job, so you're actually working.
I'm actually working for real, dude. Like, today's my company party though, my Christmas party.
What? They have it today?
Yeah.
I'm assuming afternoon, right?
They're letting us off like that in the afternoon, and it starts like at 6.
Oh, so it was like our last company where everybody got off a couple hours early, and it was like on a Friday, right?
Yeah, which is crazy, right? Because it's Friday. Like you would think that like what people would still need to get their checks, but it was funny because the people that didn't want to go to the party, they're like, okay, you stay and work.
Yeah, it was exactly how we did it last year with the other company.
Yeah, but this one's gonna be in Orange County. It's like at 6, and then it's one of those parties that's like 6 until when we'll see.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna cut out, bro. I'm like legit gonna go do my like, hey, how good to see you, and then I'm gonna cut the fuck out. I'm not trying to like drink and do that whole fucking Christmas thing, like I'm straight.
Well, yeah, I don't doubt it, dude. You're probably gonna be there all night.
Nah, yeah, they offered hotel rooms.
Did they?
Yeah, to like everybody. They're like, if you want one, let me know. And I was like, nah, just straight. I'm gonna go home.
We have ours next Saturday.
Nice. Where you guys at? Where are you guys going?
It's gonna be somewhere in Brea.
Ooh.
Yeah, I haven't been there, but I heard it's a nice place.
That whole downtown Brea area is fucking dope. So if it's there, it's gonna be good.
I'm unsure if it's gonna be exactly there.
We're in Garden Grove.
I think it's Diamond Bar. Might be a Diamond Bar. Either way, nice. Diamond Bar, Brea, and both like almost identical.
Yeah. We're going to Garden Grove, which again, that's why I'm not drinking, because I don't want to drive back from Garden Grove fucking drunk.
Take an Uber.
A fucking $50 Uber?
So what? It's worth it.
No, I'm not gonna. I just rather not drink.
Do you go into a party and you're not gonna have a drink, dude? What if the owner or anybody says, let's have a couple of drinks? All right,
I'm getting shit faced with them then.
Yeah, you're gonna get saucy.
Yep.
Yeah, you might as well just Uber it there.
Yeah, we'll see. we'll follow this up on the next one and see how
Yeah,
the fuck I did.
Did you survive?
Yeah, dude, I love when you come on, man. The time, like even now, I'm looking at the timestamps, and it's like we're an hour into it, an hour and something. And it's like these fucking conversations fly by. So definitely, let's do this again. Let's and we'll come. I'm not sure if we're gonna have to do it on the weekend or come even earlier, but we definitely need more time because these conversations are fucking great.
Yeah, most definitely. We'll see when we do it, either end of year or the beginning of this upcoming year. Since we're December 1st.
Yeah, we still have time in December to go.
Yeah,
do a couple
we have
more.
a lot. We have a lot of time. We're heading into the time where it's gonna get slower, right? A lot of companies are gonna start to kind of break a little bit. So maybe we can do that Christmas week or something.
Yeah, maybe even like a Sunday or some shit, Saturday, whatever the fucking Saturday morning, Sunday, whatever.
Yeah, I'm scared of on Sunday. I don't know. I come here on a Sunday and then you want to do Sunday Fun Day? I don't know.
Yeah, that's exactly why I'm trying to get you out here.
Man, I'm gonna get in trouble.
All right, man. Everybody, thanks for listening. Make sure you. I'm not sure if you want more followers, Eric, but you're more than welcome to go ahead and fucking. Drop your Instagram. Make sure you guys share the JayTalk Raw podcast Instagram, guys. Get more followers and listeners on here. We do not get paid for this. The hopes is that one day we get to advertising. My Christmas, the Christmas gift exchange at work. When they asked what I wanted, I put up like the soundproof things for the podcast. I was like, because this is purely for your guys' enjoyment. I turned off the ads so that we don't have commercials in there and make money off of like commercials. So it's really just for people. I want people to enjoy this and then share this, guys, and get us likes, and eventually Spotify will start hooking us up so we can get better equipment, better studio. But thank you for listening. Thank you, Eric, for coming, and thank you for all of Eric's friends and stuff that started listening, because I did see a spike in our listens as well. So yeah, I'll keep you coming back, man.
Only for the views. I'm not kidding.
I'll see you guys later.
All right, bye.